Morning. Welcome to Coffee and Resales. My name's Ryan. I buy and sell stuff from thrift stores, flea markets, and garage sales. I try to make a couple extra bucks on eBay. Put money in pocket. It's my hustle. That's what I do on the side here. And so typically I do primarily, if you're curious, I do books and toys. Those are the two things I know the most about. Though there, you'll see today, there's a couple things. There's something that I tripped over and figured I could make a few extra bucks on it, and it's been turning out. So that's what we're going to do today. So we'll jump into it. Starting off, we'll do all the books. Let's see, low to high. And this is one of those slightly irritating things sometimes is had a guy buy a lot of religious booklets that I had listed and messaged him saying, hey, I've got a bunch more, but he didn't get back to me till too late after I shipped the other stuff. But I needed the sale anyway, so I went ahead and accepted his offer for $5 on this one. Heaven is Out of This World by Don Hillis. So it was one of those. I think I looked it up, and I think I may have saw that this author had some sales on some other stuff. So I gave it a shot. This thing keeps coming off, and saw how it turned out. And this got twisted. This one got twisted. Yeah, I'm sort of a Halloween costume thing. So anyway, so that's it. Religious stuff worth. And I know I probably only paid a dime for this, so I think I'm still actually going to come out at least even after eBay fees and all that sort of thing. So next up is we'll go. Why do you have to think so much about that? These books. These are. It's a Robert Louis Stevenson, Louisa May Alcott book. These are junior deluxe editions. These are books that sometimes the ones with the covers do a lot better. I sold a pair of these for $8. These are good ones to lot up. People like it. They look great on a shelf. See that the spines are all different colors. They have these neat covers on them. Well bound. Good editions of classic children's literature. Also, these have held up well. They're from the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. 1955. So yeah, these are from the 50s. So this is, coin flip that the buyer is buying these for either reading or decorative, because they're that decent. So good looking books. I would say $1 or less. If you find them, pick them up. In particular, if you find a lot of them at one time, they're worth lotting up for $3, $4, $5 a book. Some of them are worth more. I'm not sure which ones. I haven't come across a bunch of them. So there you go. Next up is my last book, and this was a good find. I think I picked this up 50 cents at the library. My local library has a book fundraiser, book sale of old books, and that sort of thing, and so they're awesome. So, Minor Prophets by Charles Feinberg. Biblical commentary. Commentaries are worth exploring. Not all are the same. So this one's a little bit older. $20. So this one's from 78. So age isn't necessarily a factor, unless I would say pre-1900 commentaries probably tend to do really well. Except there's a Matthew Henry's don't, because they're still in print. There you can get a good Matthew Henry set for not a lot of money right now. They're still, so Matthew Henry stuff is still in print. Some other ones are, but there's some, particularly if you got some that are out of print, worth looking up. There's still some at that library that I've left on the shelf because they didn't pan out. So, but there you go, $20, minor profits. Finally, my last two things. Both were about $10 sales. We will start off. Okay, we'll do the toy first. This Supergirl figure from, I believe, the Justice League cartoon, late 90s, early 2000s, Justice League Unlimited. A little bit of mark on her. She sold her for 10. I picked up a batch of these. I think actually I picked some off a set of figures off of Poshmark. Somebody was selling a lot for cheap, and so I grabbed a bunch of them, and I still got some up there. They're all going to go between $8 and $12 eventually. So there's a lot of 2000s figures that do decently, though the price does seem to be coming down a little bit, the demand. So we'll see how it goes through Christmas. What I'll probably do is all the figures I have up there that don't sell after Christmas, I'll lot them up and try to see if I can and drop the price. I got a bunch of, I have a bunch of lots of figures up right now too, of stuff that's $1, $2, $3, $5. They may do, and I'll try them at the flea market as well. So there you go, Supergirl for $10. And now finally, this is a capacitor for a HVAC air conditioning system. I picked it up at a lot. I think I picked it up at an estate sale. I got a box of about 20 or 30 of these for $1 a piece. And I've been steadily selling them between about 10 and 15 bucks. Been selling about one a month, I guess. And various types, all new old stock. I think the guy did a bunch of work on the side, and of HVAC work on the side, and was able to. And so I saw and was like, those look new. So whenever you're at an estate sale, and you go back to the shop, if you've got a guy who had a shop with tools and all that sort of thing, look for new old stock stuff. Sometimes if he had a side business or something along those lines, or just kept some stuff. But I think this guy must have had a side business, and because he had enough stuff there that it was interesting. It's worth looking at to see, and looking some of the new old stock stuff up to see if you got some tripped over something decent. Consumables in a guy's shop, packaged consumables like saw blades and grinder wheels and that sort of stuff. It's always worth looking up to see if he, particularly if you have a guy who is a hobbyist who had good equipment. And then you can sometimes find some slightly better stuff, even for your own use. I do that sometimes too. I'll pick up if I see some good tools that I know I need. Estate sale is a good place to get them, because if you got a guy who knew his tools, worth grabbing. I was at a guy who had a really nice wood shop with lathes and turners and that sort of stuff. And if I was into, and the guys were almost fighting over the stuff because there was some good equipment in there. I didn't have a place to stash it, or I couldn't afford it or stash it or anything like that. And there was a couple pieces that may have been worth grabbing if I had a big shop, that a place to store it. There may have been a good place so I could to flip it and make a few $100 on an item rather than $2 or $3 on an item. So it's worth thinking. And that deserves a sip of coffee. So, next up, I do have a stash of stuff. I not quite death pile. It wasn't quite that old, but it's a stash of stuff that I took some pictures of and posted yesterday. Almost all clothing, so we'll go over that. That's got a hole. Well, that's going to need to get pulled off. This was I did not see that. It was a Flash 3XL Flash shirt, but the problem is there's a hole in it, so I need to get this pulled off. and that's going to go in the return pile over there. Because not return, but trash pile or whatever. But good condition 2XL and larger clothes tend to do okay if you can get them cheap enough. I've sold a handful of things here and there, particularly if they're nice brands or pop culture stuff. Those tend to do better sometimes than larges, extra larges. But inspect your clothes. I looked it over and just didn't see that spot. But this is a good one. It's another wrestling shirt. I've got a couple for sale, and I just put this one up. This is a John Cena shirt. This is official WWE. There's a lot of knockoffs going on out there of old. There's a lot of like overseas places reprinting out of stock shirts. It seems, but this is the real deal, and I think I put this up for $20 to $30 because some of the John Cena stuff that's out of print is still in demand because he pops up every now and then. So that was a good find there. Next up is the I wish this was red, but I wish it was red and it was my size because I would go as a Russian mobster this year at Halloween. But it is a Adidas tracksuit. This is a medium. It cost me like $1 a piece, and so I'm looking to get. This is actually a youth medium, and I'm hoping to get $20 to $30 on this one. Adidas. I've sold a jacket before for 10 or 15, but if you come across the full Adidas, like this classic Adidas 3-stripe tracksuits, any color, in good condition, those are good. I'm really kind of expecting this to sell before Christmas, so that's a good find there. Next up is I've got a couple of these Columbia fleece full zip jackets. These are really good shape. I think a youth medium and a large. $15 give or take. I think I'll wind up getting on them. $1 a piece at a yard sale. Columbia stuff is really good. Older stuff is better, but it's really pretty decent stuff. So, good find there. This Carhartt t-shirt, 2XL, clean, no holes on this one. Carhartt's a brand, that brand, good condition, near new, like new stuff, $10 to $20 depending on what it is. The jackets and the heavier duty stuff can go even higher. So those are all typically worth grabbing. And finally, stuff isn't as good as it used to be selling wise. Under Armour, because there's just so much out there, and their prices in the store, I think there's just I don't know, the prices in the store have come down, but folks, you see more and more of it because as the company keeps getting older and older. There's an Under Armour hoodie. Again, it was $1, which is why I grabbed it. I'm not going to pay your $3, $4, $5, $6 thrift store prices for clothing unless I really know I can turn it. And I'm not a big clothing guy. And around here, I stated this before, around where I live, clothing, there's not a lot of high-end clothing brands. Some of the athletic stuff, but they're really, anything that makes a thrift store is usually well used and well loved. So you're not going to find around here any high-end clothing brands, unless you occasionally I found some Michael Kors stuff. But the best you're going to find is Polo and Columbia, and usually it's pretty well worn. So the good clothing here, it's all store brands, or local t-shirts. I've come across a few vintage band t-shirts here and there, but usually those are that's estate sale stuff. It's not necessarily thrift store stuff, and you got to trip over it there. So that's everything today. Hey, the last couple of days had some good sales. Had some good results. And so things are ticking up, and I got to make sure I get some stuff listed this afternoon that hasn't been up yet. I got some books and some stacks of stuff to go through. I need to get some stuff up on Facebook Marketplace too. I need to find something to rotate into to see if I can get rid of it. So that's the plan. Like, comment, subscribe if you would please. Ask questions. Feel free to. I'm more than willing to answer stuff. So have a good one.